Show. Innovate, connect, and bloom.
Welcome to the Bloom Show. This is Sahid, your host. The Bloom Show is brought by Above All. Oh, sorry, technical difficulties. So we're having a repeat of the. Give me a second. So sorry. I'm gonna end this stream. I'm gonna end this stream really quick, and then I'll come right back. So, gosh, all right, we'll try this again. I hope it doesn't have an echo. All right, cool. Thank you, Cameron. That is odd. Why does that happen? It never happens. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Trying to figure this out. Never has had this happen before. So, one quick second. All right. Will it happen again? Yeah. This never happened. I'm not sure what to do. If I leave the studio, sorry, everybody. I know this is live. Stuff like this happens. So, trying to figure it out. If I lose the studio, then I lose the entire thing. And reduce microphone cancellation. That is so weird. All right, let me see. So above all flowers is saying they don't hear an echo. Let me bring in Cameron. Cameron, do you hear an echo?
I don't hear an echo or repeat or anything on my end. So
Really?
it's
I hear myself twice. But hi, Cameron.
Howdy, how's it going today, Sahid? You're getting the multiplier effect for you. I think it's just your energy and enthusiasm comes through twice for you.
I hear you saying it twice. I'm saying it twice. I'm just like, this is a trip. Trying to figure that out.
Should we try going without headphones potentially, and maybe that?
Yeah, let me see if I can do that, but I don't think that's gonna work.
Okay.
Cameron?
Should yes. We try going?
Yeah.
Nope. Still getting to. You know what? This is the beauty of where we're working today. Is everything works out fantastic and until technology just a little bit wrong direction, but we're happy to make things work.
Yeah. Cameron, I'm so sorry, and everybody that's watching, so sorry, but it's just, I'm hearing myself twice, and Cameron twice. Wait, are they gone away? No,
sure.
Still. Yeah. It's, I don't know if we can continue to go. Gosh, it sucks. Darn, this has never happened. Let me see.
Well, we're excited for the opportunity, Sahid, and if it would be better for us to shift to a different date or time so that you can do your troubleshooting, we're happy to make that work for you.
Yeah. All right. Everybody says we sound great, so I'm going to deal with the craziness of hearing myself and you twice. So, the David, the reason I can't reboot because if I lose, I have people making comments. If I close this, then you guys lose the link. So I'm gonna have to try this. All right. So again, thank you everybody for watching the Bloom Show, and our apologies for the technical difficulties. Now we're just gonna ask some questions.
Sure.
All right. So Cameron, thank you for your patience. I appreciate you. So Cameron, let's start by telling us the story about your role as CEO ambassadors of Certified American Grown.
Well, first and foremost, again, Sahid, thank you to you and to everybody who's joined on for the chance to learn a little bit more about Certified American Grown today. I have the distinct honor and privilege of serving, as you mentioned, as CEO and ambassador for Certified American Grown. And we are truly the only organization that is representing specifically the U.S. domestic cut flower and cut foliage community, our farms and farm families, and the communities that they serve. And as I mentioned, it's an honor and a privilege to work with farms and farming families from all corners of the country to be able to both promote what they are doing in their greenhouses on the land and what they are doing in their communities, as well as advocate on their behalf in Washington, D.C., with both policymakers in Congress and administrative officials, regulatory officials, and the like. So being CEO and ambassador is a great and exciting opportunity to really be telling the world about good things that are happening here in the U.S. and really being also able to champion their issues to make sure that it's sustainable for the future. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here.
No, and thank you and thank you for your time to jump on. I appreciate it again, and sorry about the technical difficulties. But Cameron, how long have you been involved?
So I have had the good fortune of being involved with Certified American Grown for the last 3 years now. It's interesting. Many folks recognize that Certified American Grown has been around for longer than that. And it was originally set up as a coalition of farms from different parts of the country, truly spanning from Florida to Alaska, California to Maine, and everywhere in between. Has really been a coalition that formed from like-minded farmers saying we need to work together to ensure that what has been a history and heritage of flower and foliage farming here in the U.S. continues to survive and be sustainable both today and into the future. But it evolved, and in early 2021, the coalition struck out and started its own trade association. And so today, Certified American Grown stands as its own organization with members from all over the country. Truly states, 26 plus states are represented with farms of all different sizes being involved and engaged. And so it's a fantastic opportunity to look at how can we all coalesce and build a unified voice of domestic farmers going forward. And so that's where we are today. And we're continuing to grow. The American Grown movement, as we like to call it, is about people building together and moving forward. And it's truly, truly exciting to see where we have been, where we've come from, and where we're going into the future.
And a big part of the growth we have seen a big change since COVID, correct?
Sure.
Can you share a little bit about that and how COVID impacted and what were the changes that we see today?
Absolutely. Well, I think one of the things that we are very mindful of is that, the U.S. Cut flower and foliage farming community used to be significantly larger than it is today. And that's to say that, as recently as 25 years ago, about 80% of what was sold here in the United States was grown here in the United States. And then there's been some policy changes that have been enacted and some subsidies and tax breaks and benefits, as well as some economic benefits given to other countries, and that have bolstered their economy and their industry in such a way that product has been coming into the US marketplace. And unfortunately, to the challenge and detriment of our US farming community that has been here. So today we're sitting at about 22% of everything in terms of flowers and foliage that are sold here in the United States are grown here in the United States. And that shift, unfortunately, keeps happening. And we see some challenges because, as we know, it's very difficult and it's very challenging to farm or to run businesses or to do things here in the United States, depending upon where you're operating, what states you're working in, or even as a country as a whole. But what we're really seeing is in the recent history, through COVID, as you mentioned, there was an uptick, and there was a fantastic uptick collectively. We are part of a global flower and foliage production community. This is a global industry, and we're not naive to think that we're not part of a bigger pie. But what was so fantastic about the pandemic is there was a focus and an emphasis in terms of beautification of our homes and our workspaces and our lives, or giving to people and giving to our friends, our families, and our colleagues to help kind of feel positive and feel comforted in a time that was a challenging space. And so actually we saw a large uptick in the floral and foliage sales side of the prospect during the pandemic. And it was because there was discretionary income, there was opportunities, and people saw the benefit. Coming out of the pandemic, as has been the case in a lot of things, all of a sudden the world became right. And so the opportunities to spend our money went into lots of different areas that maybe we didn't have the opportunity to spend on. And in some ways, sometimes we kind of also have lost what was our core and lost some of the emphasis in terms of feeling good and having those opportunities to gift, both the feeling of being a giver of flowers as well as a receiver of flowers, because our dollars are being spent elsewhere. So that being said, the pandemic was a beautiful thing because it showcased a wonderful opportunity for folks to source local, because that's where we were looking at. There are flower farms in every state in the United States, so folks can wander down the street and wander down the street to find local farms being produced, or seek out domestically produced flowers and foliage, because it is available. But we just need to make sure that focus doesn't get lost. And so at Certified American Grown, we're continuing to try to build and push that momentum of saying, you know what, your local communities, your local family farms are still there, and we want to help you continue to look for American grown product to still enhance our daily lives today and every day. Sahid, I'm so sorry, but I can't hear you now. No.
Okay, now you can hear me.
Now I've got you. Thank you. I got you.
Now you can hear me. All right, cool. So, and it stopped for now ish. All right, cool. So, so varieties continue to grow, correct? More varieties are coming out in the American grown. Have you seen that?
You know, we've seen a lot of really amazing things in terms of production here domestically, and diversification in what's being grown in a lot of our family farms across the country. So we see that you know, there's trends, obviously, as we all know, in this space in terms of color palettes and textures and varieties. Mm-hmm. There are some varieties that used to be hallmark varieties here grown in the United States that, unfortunately, because of, as I mentioned before, those trade policies that were enacted, actually forced production overseas to the detriment of U.S. farmers. You know, one prime example, the U.S. flower, the national flower is a rose. And we used to have rose farmers in every corner of the country, it felt like. I mean, we have such hallmark events on New Year's Day as the Rose Parade, because it was highlighting the U.S. rose production. Unfortunately, we're down to less than 20 commercial level rose growers here in the United States, because so many of those today are now being grown overseas and imported into the US. Something that a lot of people don't recognize and realize because, they go to the grocery store or they go to a florist or they go to a retailer and they think that a perishable product like flowers and foliage, there's a mindset that it automatically must be local. And quite candidly, that's not always the case anymore, but it can be. And so as our farms continue to be putting forward beautiful products and beautiful flowers and foliage that can be enhanced into arrangements in any corner of the country at different parts of the year, because there is something always in bloom in the US all year long. It's an opportunity that is really, really fantastic for artists and designers to think outside of the box by sourcing and looking at American grown.
And Florida was known as a carnation, the carnation center of the U.S. And I'm not sure if there's any more carnations grown in Florida.
There are not carnations, there are not mums, or very, very minimal. And so to the commercial levels that there used to be, they are not present any longer, unfortunately. And that really is back to that economic factor. Farming is hard work, no matter where you are. Farming for economic sustainability is a difficult prospect anywhere you go in any crop. But when you have economic pressures from imports and the like, we want to make sure that folks are seeing that part of the pie, the American grown piece, is a very, very viable and very fantastic opportunity. And so we want folks to support their local communities and source and look for American grown, just as they're looking for any other product as well.
Fantastic. So let me ask you a question here. Can you elaborate on the significance of American grown flowers and foliage month in promoting American grown?
Absolutely. Well, and thank you for asking that. It's, American grown flowers and foliage month is the quintessential celebration that is a part of celebrating America and Americana during the month of July. So for the last number of years, annually, we have held the month of July as American grown flowers and foliage month. It's been honored and celebrated with resolutions and recognition from the halls of Congress. It has been recognized and celebrated by our farms with different activities and activations, whether it be receptions or workshops or classes or open houses on farms, special bouquets and arrangements that are sent out and made available. It's also been celebrated by retailers, florists, grocery stores, and folks recognizing that, this is a time for us to begin to celebrate and promote our American farms. We should be doing this all year long. However, when we're looking at the 4th of July celebration and we're looking at barbecues and picnics, it's an opportunity for us to say, your flowers should be American grown sitting right there with it. We think it should be American grown all year long, but in this month especially. We also have seen and have data that has shown from the retail and grocery perspective that sales exponentially by double digits increase when you are promoting and highlighting American grown and you are showcasing the farms and the farm families that are growing these products. So it's a win-win proposition when you take in the month of July that tends to be a lower sales month outside of events and weddings, but for general consumer population. When you can create a promotion in the grocery or in retail that automatically has shown proof positive for double-digit sales growth, who wouldn't want that? But it's also the right thing to do in that month. And so July will continue this year to be American grown flowers and foliage month. We have provided a number of things for both our farms, our retailers, and the like to promote. We have on the americangrownflowers.org website, there's a section for American grown flowers and foliage month. There's a toolkit. Folks can go on there. They can download images, posters, things that can be shared on social media, that can be shared and printed out for on premise, that can be really utilized in so many different areas that is truly everybody joining in the celebration of American grown and flowers and foliage month this July.
Fantastic. And how does Certified American Grown promote sustainability and support local flower growers? And you've already shared how you support the local flower growers, but sustainability, how do you promote that?
Well, sustainability is an interesting prospect. And I think one of the things that we see here in the US domestic context is whether you want to call it regulatory burden or you want to call it legislative controls. Farming in the United States is at a caliber and a level, both by law as your foundation, as well as going above and beyond, that environmental practices, labor practices, items that naturally kind of fall in that trilateral emphasis of sustainability: economic, environmental, and social equity or community. Those three pillars of sustainability are often met as benchmark here in the United States. And so we work with our farms to ensure that what they are able to do is to learn the basics and make sure that they are doing things in as fundamental a compliance perspective as possible. And oftentimes our farms are going above and beyond that. Things that are being out there and communicated, whether it be the Bloom Check program for sustainability, whether it be some of these other key drivers that are really saying what's happening on our farms are being done in a way that is positive and as least impactful on the environment as well as on our workers, because it is truly something that I think oftentimes in the sustainability piece that goes without being said. Our farms, our families, our teams, they are living where they are working. And there is this general consumer mindset that, farms can just do whatever they want on the land. Well, nobody's wanting to do anything that is going to detriment the land that they live on, or to their children and their families, or the teams that they are so fortunate to be able to work with. So sustainability is at our core of what we're doing, because we want to protect people and place in the things that we are doing. So we work just internally. We advocate on issues that are going to make sure that our farms can continue to operate in an environmentally and economically sustainable manner, but also provide them with education tools and resources to be able to see that there are things about moving forward along the continuum of sustainability. We're also part of conversations that are much larger than just us. We're working with partner associations and organizations to say, what are those key industry-wide or agriculturally collective conversations that we work on? How can we ensure that our workers and our labor teams are safe and healthy and effective? We're working to make sure that those are key drivers for us. Are we trying to do things as minimally as possible? Absolutely, because that pays economic dividends for us. We also see that from a sustainability perspective, the movement of goods and our products, when you're sourcing local, that economic sustainability and that environmental sustainability of the movement of products is less than if it's coming from across oceans and overseas or across hemispheres. And so by supporting local, you are supporting sustainable, because you are giving back directly to the economy, the environment, and to the communities in which our farms are working day in and day out, and have been working for generations and continue to looking forward today.
So there's many layers of sustainability, right?
Sustainability is not one thing. And for anybody who thinks that, a stamp or a seal means you're sustainable, needs to understand and think about the fact that sustainability is literally hundreds of criteria that farms have to be meeting on the back end and to be looking at and to be operating within the constructs of. And that's an important thing for consumers and for wholesalers and buyers and retailers to really just say, by putting X stamp on something doesn't always mean that a product is one thing. It's really about scratching the surface to see what's happening behind what that means, or understanding that when someone is saying it's American grown, the level of rigor and standards to operate businesses here in the United States are some of the highest in the world. And so you're going to be able to have the quality and the credibility of what is behind being domestically produced that you may not get in other parts of the world.
And there's a lot more farms coming out in Virginia, tulips, peony. It's pretty amazing how many more farms are growing different things, throughout all the nation.
100%. And that is another byproduct to a certain extent, especially at the small and hyper local farm levels of the pandemic. A lot of folks started small farms because they wanted to have beautification and products, and they're seeing the prospect of the growth in terms of meeting local markets and what have you. There's also things that we're starting to really gladly see that more consumers and more retailers and wholesalers and buyers are starting to recognize more that, again, we have products here in the United States. There is something that is in bloom every single day, 365 days a year, cool, in different parts of the country. I mean, a lot of folks don't fully realize Alaska has over 200 peony farms that are blooming now and through the end of July, when peonies are not available in so many other parts of the country. And so, you think Alaska peonies, Alaska flowers, absolutely. And we celebrate that. Our farms in Maine doing phenomenal things, or up in the upper Northeast, the tropical and the products, the foliage products that are coming out of Florida, really, really phenomenal opportunities. California, a huge boon of flowers that are growing here all throughout the year, different products. And so working with breeders, working with others to say, what are some of those new things that are coming out to be able to deliver to folks all year long? Our farms are constantly looking at the cutting edge prospects of what can be done. And so it's an exciting time to be a part of the American floral and foliage industry.
That is exciting, and sometimes I see some product coming out of Homestead, not just huge sunflowers, but also stock, and you have a pride for your own state flowers and seeing them. It's a real cool opportunity to see what your local growers could do.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think that's fantastic to hear you say, and I hope that everybody listening and everybody that's feeling or watching gets that same sentiment, that what we have is the opportunity to not only do good and work with some phenomenal families by sourcing local, but it also makes us feel good because it is something that is prideful in terms of looking what's in our backyard, what's in our own country, what's in our own state. How can we work with our folks and how can buyers, wholesalers, retailers, and the like also be working with those farms to help promote them into the future, which is a win-win proposition. And so for us, it's, again, it does feel good to say that our folks are doing good works on their farms, in their greenhouses, in their high tunnels, what have you. And how can we continue to build that momentum forward and continue to be such a beautiful part of this great industry?
Fantastic. And so, I haven't had lunch, so let's talk about dinner. What can
Fantastic.
you tell us about upcoming Field to Vase Dinner in Michigan, September 14th? So
well,
I've
thank
heard
you.
about this. I've always wanted to attend. So, I'd love to hear some more.
Well, sorry that you're a little hungry at the moment, but if it gets us thinking about dinner, that's a fantastic thing. As I shared, our two main pillars at Certified American Grown are policy. It's the advocacy on behalf of the organization, really saying that, the U.S. cut flower and foliage farming community needs to have a unified voice in speaking with policy and decision makers in Washington, D.C. And the other piece of it is about promotion, making sure that people understand the prospect of the beautiful things that are growing on our farms, growing in our different parts of the country. And what started as a few years ago has been nationally recognized for its marketing value and potential. And that's our Field to Vase Dinner series, our dinner tours. Annually, Certified American Grown activates on farm dinners. Think of it like a farm to fork dinner, but it is truly field to vase. Dinner tables are set up in greenhouses or in fields where attendees have the opportunity, whether they're general avid fans, consumers, buyers. It's a collective audience, but it is truly what boils down to being a hands-on, immersive opportunity where folks get to come onto the farm, see where their flowers are grown, see how that has translated into what are beautiful designs that are being implemented on the dinner tables, and creating a real kind of holistic approach to things. Of course, like all things, it's a wonderful meal. It's an agriculturally focused home, local focus, because we feel it's important for us as a farming organization to be supporting farms, our brother and sister farms in other areas of the agricultural industry. So it's a farm to fork and field to vase table all in one, but really is an immersive floral dinner. So this September, we're really excited. We have one with Creekside Growers just outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan on September 14th. It's going to be a really, really fantastic, again, immersive opportunity. Every dinner is different. Every dinner is unique. The experience and the opportunity to take a farm tour, to get to chance to meet the farmers, to understand and have questions and answers, to celebrate beautiful bouquets, and to ultimately take a little piece of the special evening home with you and some beautiful flowers home with you to adorn and remember your event with is absolutely spectacular. So awesome. Yes, September 14th at Creekside Growers, just outside of Michigan, is our next one. We're really excited
I know my wife would really enjoy that, so we'll see if we can get out there. How many people, how large is the table, and how many people are allowed to attend?
Well, so as you can imagine, every farm is structured a little bit differently, and sometimes we are a little bit smaller, more boutique dinner, okay. And other times it is a little bit larger, just depending upon the space and depending upon the opportunity. But we range in the space of about 125 to 175. So it sounds large, but it actually is also still a very bespoke and boutique event. It's a very intimate opportunity to connect. Again, as I mentioned, it's been nationally recognized and it has been repeated and copied. Flattery copying is a sincerest form of flattery. And we've seen these pop up in many other venues and locations, but it's truly a hallmark for what Certified American Grown does and what we have going forward. So hopefully folks will be able to join. And there's information about past dinners, and you get a chance to see some of the fantastic design work and floral growth, floral and foliage activations that our farms have grown from past events on our website, as well as opportunities to learn more about the September 14th event.
So something interesting about you, which I learned while we were hanging out, was that you used to run a salmon egg farm, a salmon caviar farm.
Sturgeon.
Sturgeon, all right.
Yes.
Sorry, a lot better.
All good.
And as well, you work with a wine company, right? Or you work with a wine association as well?
Sure.
So will there be wine at this event as well?
Well, absolutely. And, I do feel very, very fortunate. And in the different iterations of my career and my life, wine, caviar, beautiful flowers. Now it's a true gift and an opportunity to be able to work with things. But like I mentioned, working with American flower and foliage farmers, they are part of a larger farming agricultural community. And the beauty is these farming communities support each other. And so when we activate these dinners, depending upon where we are, we seek out and try to work with locals. So whether it be local wines in Michigan, we're going to be working with them and highlighting wines from Michigan. Breweries, oftentimes there's cheeses and meats that have been farmed locally that are utilized. And so it's about a very holistic approach. And I think sometimes people don't really appreciate that, because when they come to an event, they think, oh my gosh, the flowers, they're fantastic, they're amazing. But when you start to look at the menu and you see that this is an experience that oftentimes you're not going to get beautiful flowers and foliage in an event like this that are so focused on things, but then it's also local cheeses, local caviar, local wines, and those sorts of things in the same way that you're going to get an experience like this. And that is truly something special, and I think is one that we continue to have as a collective agricultural hallmark for what we do.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
Fantastic.
Sure. I'm sold. I'm sold.
Good.
So I'm going to take a question here.
Yes, sir.
From Micro Furlong, how can buyers connect with a marketplace that provides access to all available product live throughout the year?
That's a really good question. Yes. Well, it is on a more local level. And so, Michael, thank you for the question. We really look at, and we're working on a prospect of saying, okay, our farms, is there an opportunity for us to create a marketplace where, whether it be buyers or consumers or what have you, in different levels, because we understand that a consumer versus a grocery or retail buyer is going to buy very different quantities and be looking at different needs. So we're working on a marketplace where our farms can collectively come onto, and folks can access from the front end and say, I'd like to purchase this, and this, and it's going to collectively come from different farms to be able to be serviced. So it's something, Michael, that we're working on, but it does also exist in very smaller capacities right now in different corners. There's folks in Michigan that have a cooperative that are providing things, and in other parts of the country there are cooperatives that also exist to source those smaller farms to feed into shipping demands out there. So it's out there. It's something we're also working on. It sounds easy. I wish it was as easy as it sounds, but as we know with technology, things aren't always as easy as waving the Disney wand and having things magically happen.
But technology is a real thing, and e-commerce, and customers are asking for it, so it makes all the sense in the world to invest in it. So my hat goes off to you to at least trying it, because it is a big endeavor.
Well, and it's one of those that a lot of folks also, we have to take into consideration that, with a nationwide organization like ours, we also have farms that are operating in 50 different states with 50 different tax structures, with 50 different regulatory requirements. So it's not always one-stop shop, or one size fits all does not always work necessarily when we're working across the breadth. And so those are some of those complicating factors that we're wrangling and trying to get wrestled forward for everyone.
So I always see you with Certified American Grown in different conventions. So where to next?
Where to next? So thank you. And this is one of those things that, again, Certified American Grown, we're very, very keen on recognizing that we are part of the broader industry and part of the broader association space in the global community. And so it's exciting to have the prospect of working and being and attending SAF and attending AIFD or looking at Flori Expo and some of these other activations and other programs and events. So what is next? In the very, very short order, Certified American Grown is truly honored and privileged at the American Institute of Floral Designers Symposium in Orlando that starts this next week. Certified American Grown farmers have really stepped forward and are providing all of the flowers and foliage for the awards and induction gala during that event, which is one of the key hallmark events for AIFD, honoring and celebrating those that have given so much and those who are really involved in education and accreditation and being inducted. So Certified American Grown farmers have provided so much product that this year's designer Alejandro Figueroa Fernandez is going to put together a beautiful event that we're excited to be a part of. Shortly on the heels of AIFD, Certified American Grown has been a hallmark sponsor of the Sylvia Cup at the Society of American Florists convention annually. We feel it's very, very important to have talented and new and up and coming designers have the opportunity to have hands-on chances to work with the beauty that's being grown in our greenhouses and farms. And so we're excited to be a part of SAF in August of this year. So that'll take us through the summer. We also have a long history and tradition of working with the Bipartisan Congressional Club in Washington, D.C., and supporting the First Lady's Luncheon annually, doing all the flowers and foliage and the activation for that event, which is the largest event annually in Washington, D.C. And so, you know, there's a myriad of other events that we participate in, whether it be Fun and Sun and Cal Flowers.
Fun and Sun, yeah.
Yes. We try to be anywhere and everywhere. So I'm happy that you see us there. It's exciting to hear.
And you're very humble. You say we, but you're everywhere and anywhere. You yourself are everywhere and anywhere.
Well,
so it's always good to see you.
I couldn't have the opportunity to be the places without the support of our members of our farms and one of my colleagues, Anna Callens. She's a tremendous support and fantastic. So it is truly a we. It's not just me having multiple personalities, but it's a team effort to make certified American grown possible.
Fantastic. So we have another, or it's just a statement. Appreciate that Cameron's a spokesperson for American grown flowers. So thank you, Michael. And then David Kaplan, my partner. We sell only domestic peonies in the spring and summer season, and have had to explain how important supporting American farms is. So that's something we do. So we
thank you, and we appreciate that. And you know, Sahid, the work that you are doing and the work that so many others that are sharing the American grown stories and the importance of supporting our farms and our farming families is critical, because one or two of us can do so much and only do so much. But it's truly about the collective will of everyone working together that really will allow us to sing as a chorus and really help continue the growth of the American grown movement. And so thank you for the part that you and everybody else who's been engaged in it has done, and hopefully will continue to do for many, many years to come.
So certainly we are here to help. And I want to say it now that you will come on the show again if you honor us. Because I've heard you twice. It's been great to have twice the show, but I would love to interact more with you. And I do want to mention something as well. I'm going to call you out here, Cameron.
Okay.
But talk to us about the picture behind the photograph behind, because Cameron's a man of many talents. So tell us about the photograph behind you.
Well, thank you. And I mean, that's awfully kind of you. So this, as Sahid, as you mentioned earlier, I did have the good fortune in past iterations of my career of running the largest sturgeon farm in North America, where we produced caviar here in Northern California that we sent out to all over the world. I have a deep love and passion and connection with agriculture and with our farms, both here and across the country. And I was driving home one evening, and our farms existed in the middle of the rice fields here in Northern California. And as I was driving along the levee, I happened to look across the rice fields, which are these waterways along the bottom, just as the sun was setting, and the reflection was absolutely spectacular. I was so lucky that I had my camera in my car with me, because I pulled over and just took some pictures and fell in love with this one. It's not retouched, it's not color enhanced or anything. It's truly what it was. So thank you for acknowledging that. It's something I love.
Beautiful, and it reminds me of my childhood home, which we had a lake, and I would see the sunset every day. So thank you for showing it to us, and thank you for sharing.
Pleasure. No, my pleasure. Thank you for highlighting it. It makes me feel good. It's just something I enjoy. But you know what? And this is maybe is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but I'm going to say it anyways, because it's the cheesiness is coming from a place of sincerity and true honesty. I cannot tell you how much I truly respect and admire the work that our farmers do, and that all farmers do day in and day out. It kills me sometimes when you see consumers that go to the grocery store or they go to the farmer's market, and they think they're just buying something, and they don't fully appreciate and understand truly the blood, sweat, and tears, and the countless numbers of hours that have gone into not only protecting our rural and agricultural heritage and our open spaces, but the work that it has taken to put that, whether it be apples, oranges, caviar, or in our case, beautiful flowers and foliage in your hands. And that cannot go unsaid enough about the work that these folks do day in and day out. And the recognition and honor truly goes to each and every one of them and the teams that they have to work with. And like I said, I count it as an honor and a privilege to be able to be working with them and on behalf of all of them to protect our open spaces and to bring beauty into our lives. So it's truly, it does sound cheesy, but it is an honor and a privilege, and it's from the most sincere place in my heart.
Very well said. So we do have people that appreciate it, such as Blooming Canyon. Thank you for sharing about locally grown flowers. Michael as well. David Kaplan from Above All Flowers, and myself again. Truly appreciate your time. Pardon the technical difficulties, but you're a champ. You are such a natural at this. And then we also have another one from Visual One. Education is key for both buyers and sellers. Thank you for all you do. So that's a testament to what you do, Cameron, and the passion you put into it. So
thank you. Thank you.
Next show, I do want to see some flower photography if you got.
Well, and I will be the first to admit, and I have to apologize, as you might imagine. You know, and as you alluded to, I'm on the road a lot, and I have the opportunity and the good fortune of crisscrossing the country on any given day. I would have absolutely, of course, had flowers and foliage behind me, except for I flew in from St. Louis, Missouri at 11 o'clock last night and had a 6:30 a.m. call in the office, and truly did not have the opportunity in the meantime to get some of our products in here into my office today. Definitely be doing so.
You have to show off that talent and share it with us. It'd be great.
Absolutely.
It'd be fantastic. And one last one. We have amazing thank you. So hi James. James always is watching as well. So thank you, James. So Cameron, again, thank you so much. Please promise us that you will join us again, maybe in September as we get closer to that event. So you could join us and we could interact a little bit more. Because hearing myself twice is a little annoying.
Well, Sahid, it's your energy and your personality. It's so energetic and vivacious that you are twice as powerful. But truly, let me know. I again, on behalf of all of the folks that I have the opportunity to represent and to work with, but me personally as well, it's an honor and a privilege to be here. I'm excited and happy to be with you at any point in time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining. I'm going to say my goodbyes to everybody, and thank you again, Cameron. It was a pure pleasure to hang out with you.
Well, thank you. Look forward to seeing and chatting again here real soon. Take good care, and everyone that's listening, thank you for being a part of the American Grown movement and hearing a little bit more about what we've got going on.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
So thank you everybody for joining. We apologize about the technical difficulty. I hope that not everybody had to hear me twice, but it was a great pleasure to have Cameron on. We are keeping it a little short today because of the technical difficulties, but again, thank you everybody. AIFD is happening very soon and we will be attending, so hope to see everybody there. And Fun and Sun, we're actually going to be there, and Cameron doesn't know this, but I'm going to invite him to jump on the show there at Fun and Sun to also speak a little bit. I see him in the background smiling and shaking his head, so that means he's confirming that he will be there as well. So thank you everybody for joining. Truly appreciate it. I know I do have a couple announcements, which one of the announcements is, let me find it really quickly for you. Finally, we are going to have Navigating Financial Challenges and Strategies for Supermarket Flower Buyers and Floral Suppliers with Deborah Zolik of IFPA. We were planning to have that show earlier, but there was some unforeseen circumstances that didn't allow us to do it. So July 16th, tune in. It's going to be a great episode. We've been planning for it for a long time. So really look forward to having everybody join us. So again, thank you everybody that joined. Sorry again for the technical difficulties, but you guys always inspire me by hanging out and really just dealing with the technical live difficulties. to become a part of this community, to hear what someone like Cameron has to say about certified American grown and just the floral industry in general. So again, don't forget that this show is by the floral industry and for the floral industry. So we truly appreciate your time, and thank you again to Cameron. Take care.
The Bloom Show. Innovate, connect, and bloom.